Kindness Can, the podcast, with radio personality Jane Linley-Thomas and psychologist Paul Bushell. Because every act of kindness, no matter how big or small, can change lives. In this series, Jane and Paul hope to enrich your life by giving you practical tools on how to be kinder in your relationships with yourself, with those around you, at home, work, and in your community.
Welcome to another episode of the Kindness Can podcast. Thanks for listening in. Hello, Jane.
Hello, my darling. Nice to see your face.
Can you believe it's a new year?
It feels good.
Hey, it's exciting.
Yeah, it's like I feel like I love it. Like a new diary, got a new event planner on my desk, like sharp pencils. Like it takes me back to being at school and marking all my stationery and getting ready.
The smell of new toughies.
Oh,
right, new shoes.
And again, kudos to any parent that knows how to contact a book. Like, have you tried to use contact paper on like covering a book?
God, I'm seeing images of
like
Shakespeare's
PhD
Macbeth and like bubbles everywhere.
No, it's terrible. There may have been a few curse words, just a few. Wow, we were. But yeah, I must say that I'm not feeling totally smashed and bedraggled. Because a lot of like 6 weeks at home on school holidays, Christmas and New Year can leave you feeling like that.
Yeah, it's a different kind of hard work, right? And as we go into this new year, it's always so tempting, and you and I were talking about this, it's so tempting to kind of put all that pressure around goals and I have to be and I must be stuff. Be careful. Be careful with it, right? Go into this gently and go into this knowing that it's not a sprint. You don't have to do everything immediately. This is a marathon, and it gets to be beautiful with highs and lows.
I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's post-pandemic. I'm definitely a changed person, as I reckon most of us are in some which way, shape, or form. But pre-pandemic, I was like that girl that like would write the goals out, and like try and stick to them. Now I'm just like, I'm going to try my best. Across the board, it's just like 2024, I'm going to try my best.
Yeah.
Because some days are great, some days are brilliant, and some days are really, really bad.
And I hope that along the way that we're collecting new ways, tips and tools to be able to deal with those bad days, because we all have them and they're normal and they're often a sign of sometimes even good things, things that we're trying to improve or do better at. But so if anything, make a few notes at the beginning of the year of some of those tips and things that I need to remind myself of. When I have that low day, this is something that I can do for me.
Yeah, I mean, we chat about it in our facilitation work. Like, it's as simple as getting a piece of paper, folding it in half, things that serve me, things that take away from me, and writing like a little map so that when you feel lost and overwhelmed and you're in a bad space, you can go back to it and say like, oh, spending hours on my phone is really not helpful for my brain. I should rather do that because that makes me feel better. So that's been really helpful for me, because sometimes you have to engineer it, right? Because those neural pathways have been running for years and years and years and years of script writing. And if you want to break away from the script, you got to work hard to do it. But man, it's so worth it.
And you are the best person to be able to do that for you. And I'm not saying that to put pressure on you. I'm saying it in the way that you're such a gift to yourself, that you get to be there for you, that you get to support yourself through these moments, and that you have collected wonderful wisdom and advice that you can give to yourself. Write it down and read it as if it were penned by Brené Brown herself.
Hella. I must say that conscious penny drop moment of being mindful that I'm in a relationship with myself has just changed my whole world. I love being in a relationship with myself. And when I treat myself badly, I'm like, girl, I'm sorry. And in fact, I've actually caught myself going up to the mirror and going like, hey, Gorge, how you doing? You're light years away from that girl that hated herself so much when she looked at her fat thighs, her fat stomach, her this, her that. And again, right here, right now, if you've been hating on yourself earlier in this day, when last did you look at yourself in the mirror and thank yourself for getting you through a pandemic? Because that is most certainly worth commending yourself for.
Absolutely. So, drum roll. If you listen to our last podcast, you might be waiting to hear what we are going to speak about today.
So I actually overheard two moms talking about going into the school holidays with this real dread and anxiety because hashtag kids want to just be online. So if it's not YouTube, it's WhatsApp. If it's not WhatsApp, it's just a minefield out there. Xboxes and PlayStations and Switches and Switch Lights. And I mean, it's another language. I sound like I've just spoken from another planet. Hey. But if you've got kids, you know what I'm talking about. So what I decided after eavesdropping basically on these two ladies' conversations, I heard the one saying to the other that she had received a contract that kind of outlined a cell phone agreement between a child of age and parents. And I was like, oh gosh, we've done contracts and it's always like us in the pearly tower, like rah, 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 rah. And they're just like, yeah. But when I read the opening line of this contract, I was like, this could work. So basically it starts by saying, dear, insert child's name. Congrats! You've proven yourself mature and responsible enough for your own cell phone. Given that you have a new cell phone in your hands, we obviously trust you to make good decisions. So why are we making you sign this lame thing loaded with stuff that you probably know already? Well, let me get to the point. A cell phone is more like a piece of technology. If used wrongly, it can be a weapon that puts your safety at risk. And you've always been a great kid, and we want to make sure that you continue making smart choices. The goal of this agreement is to make sure that you're always safe and happy, and that we always maintain a direct and open line of communication. I'm asking you to always use your phone for good and to ask for help from me or a trusted adult when a situation leaves you feeling scared or unsure. With love, your mom and dad. And then it goes into the cell phone agreement rules. 1 to 13. I'll give you an example of something that needs to be initialed. I understand that the rules below are for my safety and they prove that my parents love me more than anything in the world. I understand that my parents want to give me freedom while also giving me enough security to make smart choices. Initial here. And as I say, it goes through... I will hand my phone to one of my parents promptly at insert time, every school night and every weekend night at insert time. I will get it back at insert time, initial here. All the way through into, I love this. Where's my favorite one? I understand that my behavior on my phone can impact my future reputation in even ways that I cannot see now. I think that's such a big one. And then I love this. I will turn off and put my phone on silent, and I'll put my phone away in public, especially in a restaurant, at the movies, or while speaking with another human being. I'm not a rude person. I will not allow the phone to change this important part of who I am. Initial here.
So much magic in there. Not just about setting rules or boundaries
Hundreds.
around cell phone stuff. There's so much in there. I'm trying to work out where to even begin here. Okay. But what stands out for me, first and foremost, is it creates a platform to have a conversation. Because so many in the parenting journey, it's easy to kind of to dish out rules and not explain why or why it's important.
Because I said so.
Because I said so. But when you're going through this, you're explaining, you're creating moments for conversation, that this is why I think it's important, because I love you. I'm doing this because I love you. I think so many of the rules around technology can seem to young people like you're trying to punish me or hurt me, or you don't understand me, or you're not giving me my identity or my privacy. But using a contract like this allows you to have conversations about how your privacy and identity can actually be negatively affected when you're just doing whatever you want to do. And I'm not participating in that.
And what I think my kids really appreciated is that it did open up a conversation. So there's a lot of like, okay, guys, what time do you feel is fair? Like, let's talk about that. So everyone feels like they have a voice.
Yes.
Which I think is really, really important, because hashtag kids of this generation are woke. They are not the generation our children are seen and not heard. Don't even be ridiculous right here, right now. What I also love about this contract is at the back end of the contract, because now you're like, okay, cool, we've got the contract. But what happens if something happens like they go back on one of the points? Oof. Well, there is a kind of cause and effect part to the contract, which is cell phone agreement consequences. So, violation first time on any of the 13 points. Loss of the device. I broke the rule. Therefore, 6 days, no device. Sit down discussion. Second time. Loss of the device. I broke the rule with point whatever. 1 week. Sit down conversation. And it goes all the way through to fourth, which is like basically we need to get to why your child is not able to adhere to keeping safe online. Therefore, maybe a counselor or therapist needs to be brought in at some stage. So I have found such solace in this, and navigating a 6-week holiday with the contract was just like, it's here, bro. So they've gone from loving the contract to hating the contract to loving the contract because it's in black and white. So you know what is expected. I must say as well, we've amended some points on the contract, i.e., you need to make your bed. You need to clean the kitchen. You need to, if you're making yourself a cup of tea, ask other people because # that's being a cool person. Outside time and eating healthily, all is kind of a point system that can navigate the amount of time that you spend online as well.
Yeah, these are all negotiated things. And I think it's an important life lesson for all of us to learn that, yeah, we're responsible for our actions. If we feel our kids are responsible enough to have a device, we must be assuming that they're responsible to make choices and be accountable for their behavior. And that's what you're also teaching them through their engagement with this device. So when you overstep the mark, it wasn't me or me just being grumpy today that resulted in some kind of consequence. It was something that we all sat down and agreed to. You are participating in this relationship.
I must add that I added some stuff for me in there.
I was about to say, because it's easy to dish this all out, but you got to walk the talk here.
I said in the last conversation, like, I'm just exhausted by my phone. I'm just exhausted by this little like whispering voice that's always calling me. I want to say, just shut up. Just leave me alone. So Mike and I also wrote in the contract that we would have certain times when they're online, we can be online, but when they're off, we're off. Woof. Easier said than done. Let me tell you that. As well as no phone interaction while driving.
Yes.
Because it's too easy.
Yes.
To pick up the phone or send that text at the robot. Or you drive past someone, they're actually texting while they're in motion, they're moving.
My worst.
No, but I have in the past been known to be a little bit, fancy free on the phone in the car. It's in the contract.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big believer that the research is coming out more and more of the dangers of excessive amounts of screen time and social media in ours and our children's lives. There it is.
Yep.
Okay. But it is hard to step off this merry-go-round for me and everyone.
Yep.
Okay. But I hope that we are remembered as the generation who had the information and did something about it. And if we want our kids to do better, we've got to do better. We can't allow the tail to keep wagging the dog. We've got to take the lead here. And it starts with our own behavior. And then second of all, because I love you, I'm going to do the hard work to sign a contract with you and hold you accountable to that contract. Because it's so easy to be like, whatever. Okay, and I get that. But I'm going to do the work here and make sure that we try our best as much as we can to stick to this contract. Because as much as your kids, depending on where they are in their life, okay, are becoming more and more mature and they can handle more and more things, they are still just young people who need direction.
Hundreds.
As woke as they are.
Oh, they woke.
As woke as they are. As much as they've got the talk and they can have opinions,
They got
and all
rights.
that is wonderful.
They got
okay,
rights.
They're still young people who need to be held and who need to be directed.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a miracle that I'm even wearing shoes and a bra today because I have been living in a tent for the last however many weeks. Because as you know, breakup day, the tent goes up.
Yeah.
And we camp and we braai all the food and the kids get onto the kind of cooking roster and they burn the meat 90% of the time. But yeah, I'm already feeling like, take me back. But in saying that, so amped to get crack-a-lacking in 2024.
Yeah. I know last year was a hard year, and I'm sure coming into this year, many of us are carrying certain anxieties or certain things that are going to be hard, and I acknowledge those things. But let's be conscious of also telling our story in a balanced way and also shining light on the things that are going really well and illuminating those things and writing them down and holding on to them and letting those wonderful feelings also come into the story this year.
Absolutely. So listen, you're probably saying, where did I get the contract? If you want the contract, you can drop me an email, hello@lovejlt.com. I will send that to you, as well as if you want any information on facilitation work that Paulie and I do in schools, organizations and corporate spaces. So much love to you until we meet again. And I hope 2024 is a really, really happy year for you and your family. Keep safe.
You've been listening to Kindness Can, the podcast. Find out more at kindnesscan.co.za.